The Quellor was standard issue to Dax Railjack crews of the Old War, dating back to the earliest pre-Sigma craft, a rapid-fire assault rifle with a hefty magazine size. The Quellor is an all-round workhorse, also capable of large, short-range cryoblasts. And yes, I totally cheated with that intro and read it off the codex, but it doesn't make it any less interesting. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're going to be diving deeper into the Mastery Rank 12 Quellor. I got a couple of builds lined up for you. Something cheap, something affordable that most players will be able to build, but of course we also have the quote-unquote endgame setup with a Riven. That said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides usually take a new player-friendly approach. I like to take my time and explain a lot of the aspects that veteran players should already be accustomed to. So in case you're a veteran, and you already know most of this stuff, please, bear with me. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Quellor. But first, this message from our sponsor. Raid Shadow Legends is a free mobile and PC title. It features gorgeous fantasy characters in the realm of the turbulent Teleria. You will take on the mantle of an ancient Telerian warrior resurrected to defeat the Dark Lord and restore peace and harmony to the land. To do so, you will assemble an army and lead them into battle across numerous settings such as castles, forests, ships, dungeons, deserts, and much more. The game features a turn-based strategy core where players can choose to make the tactical decisions, but also have the option to allow the AI to assist. If you're a veteran of the genre, you'll be pleased to know that the game also features a 2x speed and multiple difficulty settings to test your skill. The game is fully playable for free both on PC and mobile. I had the pleasant surprise of finding out that you get full 60 FPS support on mobile, and on PC the game has no frame rate cap and it's fully supported in ultra wide as well, so you can enjoy the scenery a bit more. Running this in 120 frames in ultra wide is a complete blast, and the graphics are subjectively awesome, and I really dig the character design. All of this 100% free, so what do you got to lose? Give it a shot. Click the special links in the description down below, and if you are a new player, you will get 100,000 silver plus the Hexweaver champion, which is ideal for new players. All of this 100% free. Make sure to check in the upper right hand side of the screen the little treasure icon. Keep in mind that these rewards will only be available for the next 30 days, so check the publishing date on the video. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that just a couple of free shots. Yeah, I totally nailed that one. The primary fire mode on the Quellor is your basic assault rifle affair, but take a look a bit at the recoil. It does have one of those climbing recoils. It stabilizes really quickly though, so you shouldn't really have any usability issues when it comes to the primary fire mode. Now the magazine capacity is what kind of stands out on the Quellor. It has 300 base magazine capacity, which is absolutely freaking fantastic, and we're gonna be able to leverage that with some fire rate mods. But the reason for this huge magazine capacity is the secondary fire mode. Once you touch your secondary fire mode, the weapon starts charging. After it completes the cycle, it will release this big bada boom projectile, basically, which does a whole lot of damage. Yes, it is a projectile, but it's extremely quick, so bear that one in mind. This will consume a whopping 75 ammo per shot, and you might say, why? Why 75 ammo? Well, it does 1400 base damage, which is absolutely freaking huge. The Opticore does 1000 base damage, not the Vandal, never mind the Vandal. The normal version, which actually hits hard, does 1000 base damage plus the 400 AoE effect, so bear that one in mind. But it does have a couple of drawbacks to them, and we'll get into them right in a second. But first, let's jump into actions and plug in that Auto King Catalyst. We do that to double our mod capacity. If your weapons have mod capacity 30 out of 30, just install the Auto King Catalyst. It will double that mod capacity, and you do need it to get the most out of your weapons. The Auto King Catalyst can be obtained from Nightwave primarily. You can pay 20 plat to have one installed, and you can get a blueprint from the daily sortie as well. Now my weapon has been formatted a total of 5 times. You don't need to do this. I do this simply because I need to do a whole bunch of testing, but for you guys, 2 format will be more than enough. Simply plug in 2 V symbols or Madurai. Now when it comes to the weapon Exilus mod slot, normally I say, hey listen, if you can't get a real benefit out of it, then just forget about it. It's 20 plat, or you can farm the materials to actually unlock it. In this case, we gotta talk about one very interesting mod. But first, the stats on the primary fire mode. Accuracy 43.3. Will heavy caliber work? Well, it's best to show you. We're gonna put in multi-shot, of course, with split chamber and vigilante armaments. Now it's down to 16.8, but for the secondary fire mode from 100 to 25.2. And it really depends on how picky you are about your accuracy. Let's take 20 meters from the target, something like that. Okay, this is 20 meters. As you can see, some of the shots indeed are landing outside of the crosshairs. The weapon is not as precise as it was before, but from my point of view, it's definitely usable. And then when it comes to the secondary fire mode, you don't have any issue at all. Now granted, if you can't see exactly where the hell did that shot actually land, sometimes I don't see it either because of all the cool effects. And no, I'm not turning them down because I like them a whole lot, so there you go. Now when it comes to the critical chance on the primary fire mode, there's only 12% and 1.68 base multiplier. Needless to say, it's not really worth putting critical chance on the Quellor, but that's only if you don't take into account the charge fire mode. The fire rate is only 6 on primary, which to be honest is a bit of a letdown. The same magazine of 300, noise alarming, punch through of half a meter. Half a meter is good to deal with the Grenier shield dude, so there you go. It's nice that it's there, but it's nothing fantastic. I would have preferred at least 1 meter. The reload time. This sucks. Plain and simple. 4 seconds. Are you freaking kidding me? 4 seconds. That is just freaking horrible, honestly. Riven Dispo, of course, this being a new weapon smack in the middle, 3 out of 5, which means that the Rivens are definitely worth getting. But of course, this will depend on a case-by-case basis. I'm not the kind of guy to say, hey, go spend thousands of plat on Rivens, because I don't really know why. If you love the weapon, there you go. You do have the option to supercharge it with a nice Riven. Status chance 38% sky high, and when it comes to the default damage on the primary mode, impact, puncture, slash, plus cold. This wouldn't be so bad if the puncture value was interchanged with the slash value, so we can leverage high status chance with high slash. Unfortunately, puncture is the highest, and we don't really get crit anyway, so there you go. When it comes to the primary fire mode, you can't really get all that many slashes. Not from the IPS and not from Hunter Mumu either, so bear that one in mind. When it comes to the charge shot, things change quite a bit. First of all, the charge rate is 1.2 seconds. Which is a bit on the lengthy side. But again, we can fix that with some fire rate. Critical chance though, take a look my friends. Base 40%. Not only that, but critical multiplier 2.2x, which is fantastic. And I'll be honest with you, the secondary fire mode isn't really all that easy to use, but it sure is fun when you fire it, just like the original Opticore. But of course, these are just my subjective feelings on the matter. Fall off though, take a look at this garbage. Between 9 and 18 meters, seriously. Extremely small fall off, and this is where that Exilus mod slot comes into play. Normally, you can't really plug in something here that will make a huge difference, at least not for the Quellor, but the terminal velocity will have a pretty big impact because it increases the fall off to 14.4 to 28.2. 14.4, that's when the fall off starts, because 9 meters is garbage, unless you want to use it as a shotgun, but even then, at least 15 meters, if not more. So again, for the Exilus mod slot, go with terminal velocity. The fire rate of 1, of course, magazine of 30, but again, you do consume 75 ammo per charge shot, alarming, reload of 4 seconds, mommy, why? Riven disposition, the same, status chance 10%, we don't care because we got a whole lot of crit, and the damage, my friends, unfortunately is impact and cold, but at least it's 1400, so there you go. Now, let's have a look at the standard build. And we got damage with Serration and heavy caliber, and the primary reason is the huge base damage that we got on the secondary fire mode. Of course, multi-shot has to be here with split chamber, critical chance, critical damage combo, point strike, vital sense, again for the secondary fire mode. I mean, take a look at this. Guaranteed crits with just point strike alone. How can you resist that? And of course, we got an elemental combo of corrosive on the weapon between malignant force and high voltage. You can farm high voltage if you don't have it from the mission Elgar on the planet Eris. You gotta find all the free secret caches, then upon extraction, you got a 5% chance at this one or Shell Shock. I'm sorry, you can pay 20-30 plat from the trade chat on PC to get one, or you can wait for Battle Kit here to bring them and get them with ducats and some credits. Those are the options of getting this mod. Malignant Force is easy, from Corrupted War in the Void on the trade chat, no more than 10 plat, and as before, we got Terminal Velocity. Now, what we got here is also Vile Acceleration, my friends. 90% fire rate at the cost of minus 15% damage. And I hate that it has minus 15% damage, but again, it only takes 15% of your heavy cal or your Serration. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. But if you can't stand the damage loss, you can go for something like Speed Trigger. It's 60%. You lose 30% for 15% damage. The choice is yours. My recommendation, especially for using the secondary fire mode or the charge mode, would be to go with Vile Acceleration, because let's be honest, if a weapon annoys you, if a weapon is hard to use in actual gameplay, you're not gonna pick it up, are you? Not when you have like 1,000 weapons to choose from. So there's that. Now, of course, we're gonna be spawning the benchmark level 120 corrupted heavy goons, and let's see what the weapon is capable of. First, I'm gonna show you in automatic mode, then we're gonna do a couple of charge shots. Take a look at this. The weapon is extremely easy to use right now. It's fully stabilized, and as you can see, it is chomping away at the corrupted heavy goons, even though I'm using a whole lot of ammo. I don't really care because, again, my magazine capacity is 300, so I can keep on shooting for a rather lengthy period of time, even with that extra fire rate from Vile Acceleration. Now let's try the secondary fire mode, that charged up shot. Oh baby, that's awesome. 50% of the target's health with a single shot from the, well, charge shot. And of course you can use hunter munitions as well if you want to. If you're gonna get a crit that proc slash, the value of the slash will be high. You can even one-shot one of these corrupted heavy goons, but again, it's shot-by-shot action. You can go for Hunter Mumu if you really want to. Now, the ideal way, from my point of view, to use this weapon would be something like, hey, you're coming up on a really high-level target, let's say, okay? You're gonna remove some of that armor with body shots and stuff, and then you're gonna be finishing it off with something like a charge shot. Maybe something like that. Other than that, my friends, my build does have one weakness to it, and you probably noticed it. This is it. I didn't use any mod to tackle or resolve the problem with the reload speed. 4 seconds is simply vile. It's brutal. It's not warranted on this weapon because, yes, the performance with a standard build is nice. It's okay. But it's nothing out of the ordinary. Let's be honest here. I don't see why this weapon deserved a 4 seconds reload time. But enough about that. You guys want to see the slashes? I know you want to see the slashes. Fine. Hunter munitions. What are we gonna give up on? Well, actually, if we're gonna go for slash, I might actually drop high voltage. No more electricity on the weapon. That was the only expensive mod anyway. And take a look at that now. I got viral on the weapon. Awesome. A whole lot of viral, both in a primary and secondary fire mode. And I can use slash with viral, just like that. Nice and easy. A big difference a single mod makes. I know. But of course the slashes are really, I mean, your best chance is kind of to use the secondary fire mode. But let's try with primary, with that very low critical chance now. Hit the target at about 50%, then watch the slashes deal the damage. It works, doesn't it? Even with the low critical chance of the primary fire mode, because basically I'm putting a whole lot of bullets into my target. That's the general idea. What was that? Let's see on this one, 177. Again, reach 50%, then we're gonna stop roughly there. That was what, 50 bullets, almost. Something like that on the target. Of course, you can get slashes, and of course, viral will be working fantastically well, because viral does not need 1000 procs in order for it to be good. But let's try our luck with the secondary fire mode. I know that's what you guys want to see. Do we get slash? Oh, baby, 40,000 slash. It was so destroyed. Absolutely freaking wrecked, man. The beam went through the targets, absolutely annihilated those corrupted heavy goons. The value of the slash, if I saw right, was about 40,000, 39,000 something. Come on. No, nothing that time. There's the slash. What was the value? Something like that. Hold on, I didn't see. 39,345, that's the value of the slash. So once again, my friends, there it is again. The best way is still to go with freaking hunter munitions. Now, of course, on the Quellor is doubly awesome to build viral and slash simply because the weapon does have innate cold damage, which means we can form the viral elemental combo with a single mod, freeing up one mod slot for whatever the hell we want. For example, a fire rate mod. Again, I recommend Vile Acceleration. You can use Speed Trigger, and if you don't know how to farm mods such as Vile Acceleration, that is to say corrupted mods, link the cards right now for a full and easy tutorial. It's gonna go really quick, especially if you got friends that you like to run missions with. If you don't, you can do it solo too. Basically nowadays you can run these vault runs totally solo, use an Inaros, get all the keys, all of that good stuff. Now let's talk about Rivens, my friends. Now this one is a loaner from a friend. I don't actually own a Quellor Riven, and he went out of his way to roll this one 37 times, so let's pay our respects to a Greasy Hobo. Yes, that's his nickname. I'm not making this one up. Greasy Hobo, thank you so much for the loaner on this one, my friend. Multi-shot damage and punch through. And for a second, just for a second, I want to discuss Quellor Rivens with you guys. What is the ideal Riven? Well, that depends on what you're taking into account. If you're just taking into account the secondary fire mode, honestly I love that secondary fire mode. You're gonna say critical chance, critical damage, multi-shot, harmless negative, or perhaps minus impact instead of the harmless negative. A negative which actually helps, yes. Yes, but if you take into account the primary fire mode as well, because you're not just gonna use the charge shot, are you? Actually, you could. But anyway, if you do take into account the primary fire mode as well, multi-shot and damage should trump everything else. Of course, keep in mind that this is a high status chance primary shot, and gas builds or toxin builds are extremely powerful, especially when it comes to using them versus Corpus, so you can even get something like toxin on your Riven. Nowadays, heat is also extremely powerful because the new heat proc will be reducing enemies' armor for the duration of the heat proc, and it also stacks on itself and deals a, well, not a huge amount of damage, it deals a decent amount of damage, but the heat proc nowadays, again, is pretty significant, so bear that one in mind. Now enough about all of this, let's test out this brand new Riven on the same Corrupted Heavy Goons level 120. I don't have Hunter Munitions, why not? Didn't you say it was better? Yes, it is better, but this is my build and I hate Hunter Munitions, I don't want to play with it, so I'm just gonna do this. I prefer doing this. Beautiful. Ah, I can't believe that guy actually survived. Well, girl, actually, so there's that. Yes, the Rivens will make things better. It is a whole lot more powerful than before, especially when it comes to the secondary fire mode. Now, here's the thing. I had 49 ammo left in my gun and I went for the secondary fire mode. It reloaded automatically, so bear that one in mind. Now, my friends, there's still one more thing which I do want to do. Bump up everything with Warframe buffs, and for that we're going to be using the ever so lovely Lady Mirage Prime. Why? Why is that? Well, on missions you will be getting some Warframe buffs, right? Now granted, they won't be as extreme as Mirage, but this is definitely fun to watch for posterior motives. Yes, Pistol Lamp will do nothing for us. Instead, what we can use and what you should use is Corrosive Projection against Grineer. But we're not gonna bother, especially considering the high amount of damage this weapon deals. We're not gonna go with Corrosive Projection, we're just gonna go with Rifle Lamp and 27% extra damage. You can even use Coaction Drift to increase this value, if you care enough. But again, Corrosive Projection against heavily armored targets is definitely the way to go. For example, did you guys know that at the current time, and bear in mind, I don't know if this is a bug or not, but on the Railjack enemies, you know, you go on board enemy ships, cruise ships, and you fight them and stuff. Yeah, those guys, you can't use corrosive on them in the sense that their armor doesn't go down. You still get the damage bonus from corrosive, but their armor doesn't seem to go down. Corrosive Projection, though, still works on them. Again, I don't know if this is a feature or a bug, but that's how the Grineer from Railjack currently act in Warframe. Might be a bug, so don't quote me on that one. When it comes to Arcanes, we can use Arcane Avenger, 30% critical chance boost bonus additive after. This will simply stack on top of what you already have. This one is farmable from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. As for a second Arcane, we can also use Avenger because yes, my friends, they do double stack. Link in the cards right now for a full tutorial on Arcanes. But what we can also use is Arcane Rage, especially considering the high amount of base damage on this weapon, and this one will give us what? 120% damage to primary weapons for 16 seconds, a 10% chance on headshot, and we're gonna go with a combo between the two. Honestly, most of the time I simply cannot resist going for 2 Arcane Avengers. Now, here's a trick that you can use for basically any primary weapon. Pick up a Sentinel, whatever Sentinel you want, it doesn't really matter. Then use a weapon on him. Let's say I'm going to be using the Artax. Why does my Artax have 7 format? Doesn't matter, not important. Now, get these on your Artax's weapon. Get your Vigilante mods because they will be applying their set bonus to your primary weapon. Even if the Sentinel dies, okay, and never comes back to life, it's gonna be more. Oh, I don't have supplies? Why don't I have supplies? There we go. Vigilante supplies too. There we go. Now what I got? 20% chance to enhance critical strikes for primary weapons. My friends, this is not the same thing as getting pure critical chance. It works differently. It's a different mechanic, but there you go. You will be getting that slight extra buff. It's not a huge deal, but it is extra damage. It is extra DPS, so why the hell not? Activate Mirage's free ability for a massive damage increase, as well as her ever so lovely clones. And of course, we're gonna use the secondary fire mode. Now you see him. No, you don't. I'm sorry. Anyway, as you can see, the weapon is extremely powerful now, but that's basically because of Mirage Prime. She has that ever so lovely gift of making most weapons seem extremely powerful. And she is a pretty powerful Warframe, but when it comes to survivability, she definitely has some serious issues, but she is one of our Eidolon hunters. You can successfully hunt Eidolons with Mirage Prime. Link the cards right now for a full tutorial on that one. But I digress. Let's get back to the Quellor, shall we? It's a very interesting primary weapon. It does have a cool secondary fire mode. I love the big bada boom beam. But then again, I was a fan of the original Opticore. Other than that, the primary fire mode, don't get me wrong, it can be efficient at what it does, but it's another assault rifle. Did we really need another assault rifle? It's an assault rifle with a twist. You do have the secondary fire mode. I guess you can compare it with the Batacore, but on the other hand, the Batacore has that really cool charge mechanic, that 3-dot charge thingy. And of course, fun is subjective, but I did enjoy my time so far with the Quellor. Can I recommend the weapon? Yeah, sure, but it wouldn't make my top 10 list when it comes to primary weapons. Definitely not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you got any sorts of feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below, if you guys want to suggest any particular type of content. Now, in all honesty, I can't exactly promise you that it will be done by next time or even within a week, because these things take a bit of time to make, but I can promise you that I will be reading through each and every comment. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And if you love the content, consider supporting us via Patreon. Until next time, my friends, bye-bye.